अगर बंदे को मेहनत करनी है तो पैसे कमाना मुश्किल नहीं है.
So, what advice would you give to someone who wants to make their first crore as fast as possible?
There is no shortcut. Staying at it, that's the only magic.
At what age did you make your first crore?
Salary cannot enable the first crore at an early age. वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस कुछ नहीं होता. यहाँ पे जो बंदा आता है उसको अपना करियर बनाना है, उसको 8 घंटे नहीं 12 घंटे काम करना है, उसको 16 घंटे काम करना है.
How does the founder of a company make money?
Their upside is not their salary, it is essentially the stock that they hold in the company.
Career planning equals to career limiting.
I feel your career plan should not be more than 5 years. I mean, financial independence is not the benchmark. Financial independence means
Quickly, can you take me to your teenage years, how you were as a college student, and from then, what things shaped you to starting your own startup?
as a teenager, I think I was very mischievous, and in college, I decided to stay back in India and read economics and philosophy at Hindu College, Delhi University. So I had a lot of time at hand, and that's what sort of got me to start a side hustle, which was essentially the cloud kitchen business that we had back in 2015 up till 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how the journey started. We started with one cloud kitchen. It was a Pan-Asian cloud kitchen called Beijing Street. And then we used to open up the second one, the third one. I graduated from college in 2018, decided to scale up in the business, and we scaled up to a level of about 4 cloud kitchens. And then by 2020, decent scale, but the first wave of COVID was brutal for us, and that's when we had to sort of pause ops of a couple of cloud kitchens, and then having built brands over 5 years, we thought let's sort of step on the other side of the table and enable brands using our network of cloud kitchens back then.
How do you look at money?
So there are two ways of looking at money, right? According to me, one is from the lens of a person running a business and from the lens of a person managing his lifestyle.
Right.
From the lens of a person running his business, I feel if the basic principles of the business are intact, money is the cheapest resource available. When I say capital is the cheapest resource available, right? When a founder is in the market looking for investors, you got to look at investors who bring in a dollar plus value. Everybody brings in a dollar, and dollars compared to a dollar, right? But who brings in the dollar plus value? Who gives you access to more investors, access to customers, access to strategy, brainstorming, spending time with you? So I think that's what we look at from a business lens.
So, would you call yourself or say that you are financially independent?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat. I mean, financial independence is not the benchmark, right? So, financial independence means you can pay for your house, you can pay for your food, you can pay for the car that brings you to office every day, you can pay for your phone bills and your electricity bills, and maybe some dinners here and there. I mean, that's not the benchmark, right? If that was a benchmark, we wouldn't be working 14 hours a day. So, financially independent is and was never the goal.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that there are two types of Indian youngsters. One is very passionate, who is aiming to become a top tech CEO in the around the globe, and one is just very happy leading an uneventful life according to social media. So, what do you see the future of India shaping up like?
Yeah, I feel the next 20 years of India are very, very exciting. And I don't just say this for the sake of saying this, I also say this because the number of opportunities and spaces that have been unlocked in the last, I'd say, 5 years. A bit of it also has to do something to do with COVID, right? Has opened up a lot of opportunities for the entire spectrum, whether it's people coming in from villages to towns becoming Zomato riders, or it's those Zomato riders becoming small time distributors. So if you look at the entire spectrum, right, from the bottom of the layer to the top of the entire spectrum, there is ample opportunity for everybody in India, and it's no longer only limited to the Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore's of the world. Today, there is opportunity in all of your mini metros. So, in the next 50 cities in India, there is enough opportunity. अगर बंदे के पास अगर बंदे को मेहनत करनी है तो पैसे कमाना मुश्किल नहीं है इंडिया के टॉप 50 शहरों में.
So let's say a 24-year-old is listening to us and wants to start with their career. So if you were to go back to that age of yourself, so which industry would you choose to start your career?
I won't choose any industry. I would actually open my laptop, switch on my phone, start something, and not start slicing and dicing through research papers and figure out, okay, these are the top 5 industries, these are the hottest sectors to touch, these are the sectors who have a potential in the next 15 years. That's not the way to look at things. Start something right now, keep evolving. Don't do so much research before you get started. That's my way of working. I mean, right or wrong, I mean, all approaches are right as long as they work right. But my approach is start early, start quickly, start small, and then keep evolving and keep growing and stay at it. That's my approach.
So what advice would you give to someone who wants to make their first crore as fast as possible?
I think the best advice to give to somebody who wants to make their first crore is to not think about the first crore and keep moving, showing up every day, right? Staying at it, that's the only magic. There is no shortcut to calculate on Excel that, okay, if I make 10,000 rupees doing this into say 100 or 1,000 makes it a crore, right? That's not, you can't scale stuff on Excel. You got to be there on the ground, hands on, show up every day and do it. I think that's the approach I love, and that sort of worked for me, at least in the early years.
At what age did you make your first crore, and what was that, through business or salaries?
It was not through salary, and salary cannot sort of enable the first crore at an early age. Of course, there are corner cases and exceptions, but I think that was about a year or two ago.
Do you love your work?
That's the reason I show up every day at about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning.
How do you differentiate between your family, your personal life and your work?
While people keep preaching that वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस होना चाहिए एंड आई टोटली डिसएग्री राइट. वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस कुछ नहीं होता. यहाँ पे जो बंदा आता है उसको अपना करियर बनाना है, उसको 8 घंटे नहीं 12 घंटे काम करना है, उसको 16 घंटे काम करना है. अगर वो 16 घंटे काम नहीं करेगा तो ही इज जस्ट एनीबडी इन द ऑडियंस. ही इज जस्ट एनीबडी ऑन द फ्लोर वर्किंग अमंग 100 employees or among 500 employees or among 10,000 employees in larger companies, right? So if you have to stay ahead of the curve, and for an exceptional outcome you have to have an exceptional input also, and that means that you have to put in those many extra number of hours, and that means that the difference between your work life and your personal life will be a very blurry line, and there will be a lot of intersection, and that one has to sacrifice for x number of years. That's my belief.
Is education still a very big factor?
Yeah, so depends what stage of education, right? Schooling is very important. It unlocks the confidence, it unlocks uh, the first degree of access. And then college is also somewhat very important because that acts as the minimum, I'd say, I won't say a minimum guarantee, but I'd say it's sort of a safety lock, right? So that if nothing works out in life, okay, with your college degree, you'll at least get a 50,000 rupee job. That's मतलब घर तो चली जाएगा ना. But then I truly feel that when you go from college to sort of an MBA or a master's, right, that's somewhat very, very excessive in a lot of cases, because people in India go for an MBA or a master's because they don't know what they're doing right now. They have nothing to do right now. They're not getting a job, or they're not growing in a job. They're like, okay, we need more time to figure out stuff in life. Let's do a master's. It's like bridging 1 or 2 years and passing time. That's the approach I've seen in a lot of people in the last 2-3 years, but that's not how it works, right? MBA should be a staircase to something you want to achieve in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You want to grow in the corporate side, you want to grow on the consulting side, on the finance side, right? So, but people use MBA as like a nice pastime for about 2 years, but that's not the approach.
So how should someone figure out? Like, obviously you mentioned start something right now, but still going deeper into that.
Start something right now means, of course, you can't be like, I have no idea. You have to have that mindset to go and see problems and identify problems and figure out that, yes, I feel I can solve this problem in this way. And every problem doesn't need to have a 20-slide deck attached to, okay, this is the solution of the problem. It can be a very simple problem, maybe a little, it's like better, faster, cheaper, right? This solution is better, faster, cheaper than the incumbent solution available in the market today. And it doesn't have to be a very high-tech solution, a very AI-driven solution, a very automated solution. It can be a new way of doing stuff.
How does the founder of a company make money?
Yeah, so a founder of a company runs his household in the most basic way with a simple salary. Typically, founders are undervalued in terms of salaries, and very obviously because their upside is not their salary, it is essentially the stock that they hold in the company, and hence the salary is only given for them to make ends meet, right? Till the stock value gets unlocked at a certain point in the journey. Um, and of course, as the company scales and the value of the company grows, the founders have a certain skin in the game. And when they start liquidating that skin in the game is when they sort of unlock certain value.
Where do you see opportunity to build the next unicorn in India?
Yeah, everywhere is an opportunity. I'd say there is, whatever way I answer this question, it won't do justice, right? Um, you look at any space, you look at mobility, you look at commerce, you look at healthcare. I mean, every space there's ample amount of opportunity today. So the right person at the right place at the right time will unlock that opportunity, work on it, and make a big deal out of it.
What importance do you give to being at the right time? Because people can figure out opportunities, people can figure out finances, but the timing is very crucial. What is what I believe.
The timing is everything in life. If you've come up with a solution for a problem which isn't worth solving at a certain point in time, then you're at the wrong, you're at the right place with the wrong time. You need to be timing your solution well with the tailwinds of the market. And that's how timing is very important. So, in a lot of journeys, you'll see people are building the company, the solution hasn't changed. But after 3 years, the hockey stick growth starts being witnessed. And the reason behind that is that the market wasn't mature when they started, but it also matured alongside. Right. So they had to wait and be patient for those many number of years.
So you have the view from both the lenses, raising money and then investing also. So what advice would you give to someone who is wanting to become a founder?
For me, writing very small angel checks is just to be part of the ecosystem. It's very mentally simulating. And it sort of keeps us active in the ecosystem and pushes us out of our bubble, right? Because our bubble is only same day delivery, 2 hour delivery, 120-minute delivery, but there is a world outside delivery, there's a world outside mobility, right? And when we're sort of we have a very small skin in somebody else's game, we keep learning about what's happening in the outer world, and that's the only reason we write those small checks, right? So uh, that's point number one. And I think point number two, anybody who's raising a small angel round, I think don't worry about the round size. Don't worry about runway. Raise the first round, even if it's like a nice 50 lakh or a 1 CR or a 2 CR round, and 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 uh, and just grow from where you are in the journey to the next space. And then I think raising subsequent rounds is always easier. The first round is always the most difficult round.
I read something very interesting the other day. Is what career planning equals to career limiting. What do you have to say on that?
I think career planning and career limiting and career filtering is very important, right? So one has to choose his battles very, very wisely. What that means is that you may feel you're good at doing A, B, and C in one lifetime, but you have to choose your battle wisely. Right? You can either become a doctor or a CA or a lawyer. I mean, sure, technically you can become all three, but you won't be able to unlock the value of all three in those many number of years, right? Career is what, 30, 35, 40 years at max. And that also is history. These days, careers are like 20, 25 years. So I feel your career plan should not be more than 5 years. The 1 year plan should have a month-wise plan. The second year should have a quarter-wise plan, and year 3, 4, 5 should have an annual plan. And you should never talk about what's happening in the sixth year. Reason being, you things change, things evolve. Just keep 5 year blockers and keep planning it 5 by 5.
Do you ever get the feeling of being burnt out as a founder?
Yeah, I mean there are days, right? Because there are days you reach office at 7, you leave office at 8 in the evening. There's traffic on the way home. You reach home at about 9, 9:30. Work still doesn't end. You take work back home. And that's when you're like, okay, this is never ending, and you again have to wake up in the next morning. Either you have to take a flight or you have to reach office, show up for another meeting, right? So there are days you sort of feel that you're burnt out, and the only way to sort of tackle that is For every 6 working days, there should be like a one totally disconnected day, right? Where you sort of unplug, disconnect, and mentally, physically relax, and then come back. That's life.
What advice would you give to someone to like stop procrastinating and like take their first step towards whatever they want to do?
Now is the right time. Yeah. In fact, now is the best time for anybody starting out. And I've seen so many people who say, okay, not right now, but I'll build after 2 years or I'll build after 6 months. Um, or I'll gain some experience before building, right? There, I think there is a confidence problem and they should do what they're doing. If they're working for a startup or they're working for a company or they're in a job or they should do what they're doing till they gain that confidence. There's no point pushing somebody to do something that he's himself not confident to do.
What advice would you give to a 24-year-old? It can be anything starting out their careers.
To a 24-year-old, ideally a 24-year-old is a person who's already graduated from college, right? So at that point in time, I think people should not be worried about money. People should be worried about the right decisions. Because starting a business doesn't get you money from day one, may not even get you money till day 700, right? So take the right decisions and think from a 30 backward mindset, that when you're at 30, would you have regretted taking the decision or not, right? Or would you have sort of figured that, yeah, this was the right decision retrospectively. So work 30 backwards and understand how do the next 6 years look like. Yeah. And where do I want to be? Where do I want to see myself when I'm at 30? And what are the steps needed to succeed and reach that 30 milestone?
Thank you so much, Madhav.
Thank you for having me.